everybody who's looked into the flat Earth thing at all has looked at who knows how many videos of things in orbit and balloons and rockets and everything else, and both sides, the ball Earth side trying to point out that there's a curve, and the flat Earth trying to say that there's no curve and that it's straight, and it's just this ongoing debate. We got all the videos showing how there's the GoPro cameras and all of that, and I get all that, and I think there's tons of evidence to show that the footage is being artificially curved with the GoPro, and just curved glass in the windows of like the Gemini rockets and things. Anyway, so we've all seen that, we've all looked at that, but one thing that just occurred to me, and then I was looking around, and I mean, maybe it's out there, but I haven't found anywhere that from the flat Earth side that has seemingly looked into this or asked this question, and that is, why do we not conceive of the possibility, at the very least, that if the Earth was actually either, whether it was a disk, an enclosed dome of some kind, or even on the infinite plane, either way, in either one of those models, would it not be true that if you went up high enough and you were looking out, you would see either the curvature of the disk, you'd see the curve of the edge of the disk, right? Because if you got close enough, there would be an edge where the dome was, and presumably there's no light outside of the firmament. So you would see a slight curve, but it wouldn't be the curve of a ball, it would be the curve of the edge of a disk. Or, even if you were on a flat plane model, or a infinite plane model, the sun, which is not 93 million miles away, but comparatively much closer, would be shining out in all directions upon the flat plane, and that illuminated area would be the shape of what? A circle, once again, which if you were high above the illuminated plane, you would see the curved edge of the illuminated circle, right? The edge between night and day would be curved on a flat Earth. It's not a straight line, because light doesn't work that way. So, an interesting thing to consider for me, because it's, with all this back and forth, it just suddenly occurred to me that why would a flat Earth necessarily have to see a perfectly flat, perfectly straight line at the edge if you really did get close enough to where you could see the edge of a flat? We're always comparing it, we're trying to disprove the ball, but we don't actually stop and think, well, what if this really is true, then what would it look like? What could it look like? And are we just being told it's a ball if it's really a disc, a circular disc, or even just a illuminated circle on a plane or whatever? So really, I think for me, the point I'm at is where I kind of find that the whole debate over whether we're seeing a slight curve or if it's really straight across like a ruler when we're looking at all these, low Earth orbit or high altitude shots is just kind of completely irrelevant to me at this point, because if it was a ball, we shouldn't be sitting here debating whether there's slight curve or straight, because even a flat Earth could have a slight curve. What you couldn't have on a flat Earth is any kind of craft or satellite or probe or anything going up to the point where it left the Earth's atmosphere and went out into space to where that gentle curve once again turned into the ball. We should have video or photos, time lapse or something. We should be able to see that progression from curve to an arc to a full-on ball or sphere. And that footage, as far as I can determine, simply does not exist in any way, shape, or form. The Apollo astronauts supposedly waited till they were way far out till they turned around and looked, or they could only get a shot, and we never get these shots of being high up in orbit or altitude where they'll take a shot of the Earth and then turn around and take a shot of the moon or the sun or space, or It's basically they're just up. They're up. They're up. If it was a flat Earth, they're just up in the sky, within the dome, within the firmament, or whatever. There's nothing that actually shows that you are pulling away from a spherical object, because once again, on a flat Earth, if it's a disk, you would still see a circle down on the plane, or you would even see on a infinite plane, you would see the illuminated circle from the sun, and depending on where you are, you might be close to the edge or not. And if you were towards the middle of it, it's a big enough area that if it's going off in all directions past the vanishing point of your perspective, it would look flat in every direction, especially if it was an infinite plane. But it's pretty big either way. Even if it's enclosed, it's still very big, to where you'd have to be kind of close. You'd have to be pretty close to the Antarctic wall, or you'd have to be really high up to be able to see the disk of the plane. But I'm just saying, theoretically, it's possible. So